Next speaker, Mr. Laurent Karsenti from ENEDIS, who will tell us about the rollout and learnings of smart grids in France. So Laurent, you are technical director and you are working on the international development.
Thank you, Valerian, for the presentation. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm Laurent Karsenti. I'm working as a technical director at, for the French DSO ENEDIS. In the international development activities promoted by EDF International Networks. My presentation will deal with the rollout of smart grid solution and the global vision in 12 minutes of ENEDIS smart roadmap. First of all, let me introduce the context of distribution in France. As I said, EDF International Networks expertise comes from ENEDIS. So we are moving towards a 2.0 network with a successful rollout of 9.3 million of Linky smart meters in France. This is in February 2018, and the objective is to reach a target of 35 million of smart meters by 2021. The French DSO, ENEDIS, has to operate and maintain more than 95% of the medium voltage and low voltage networks. That is the activity of the French DSO. New challenges appeared in France. First of all, the renewable energy growth in France, that is really important, and electrical vehicle integration need, that is another input. In order to face them, ENEDIS has developed smart grid solutions and is rolling out them, some of them, the most cost-effective ones. So, let me be a little more precise about the context and the presentation of ENEDIS and a few figures in order to present ENEDIS. So, we operate and maintain 1.3 million of kilometers of MV and LV networks with around 3 billion of investment. We have 35 million of customers. The SID in 2017 was 65 minutes, which corresponds to the regulator expectation. Today, we have 19 gigawatts of renewable energy sources that are connected to MV and LV networks, knowing that more than 90% of the RES are connected to the DSO network and not to the TSO network. That is really important to know. Most of them are connected in medium voltage or low voltage. In 2025, 40 gigawatts are expected to be connected to our networks. As for the expectations, they are strong. They are really strong. Well, from the consumers and the producers first, in terms of smart grid, but also by the regulator and the local authorities. As for example, the green growth law has been adopted in 2015 and has given a certain number of expectations that are really strong. But ENEDIS has not waited for these expectations to launch a real smart grid roadmap and approach. And to face these expectations, I will show how ENEDIS, the approach ENEDIS has chosen in order to industrialize smart grid solutions. This is a three-step approach. First of all, the R&D studies and a real open innovation approach has led us identify and scope the smart grid solutions. It takes a certain time in order to identify these solutions and to scope them. Then we decided to experiment some of them in European and French demonstrators or experimentation. And the third step is the cost-benefit analysis and the most interesting use cases where these solutions should be deployed, and so we select the most cost-effective ones and roll out them. Here is a map. Sorry for the little writing, but in fact it's a big map in order to show you that we are really present in France and in Europe. That is the most important in this slide. 19 smart grid demonstrators we are participating in, and I will give some examples of these demonstrators. First one, NISGrid, that has been developed by Mr. Debreuil and presented just before in the southeast of France, which tries to handle consumption peaks in a solar district using storage. But we have two other really interesting examples of smart grid demonstrators. A demonstrator which is called Ventea in the northeast of France aims at a better integration of wind farm generation into our networks. And we developed a certain number of solutions such as the voltage management regulation that has been developed in that kind of demonstrator. Another demonstrator is the Smart Grid Vendée experiment, which deals with how to optimize production and consumption in a region. So these are examples of what we did as experiment, and then we rolled out a certain number of these solutions. So here is ENEDIS roadmap. So as you can see, the roadmap is quite long in order to have a real smart grid. Two main objectives in our approach. The first one is to modernize and optimize our network management processes and infrastructure. This is the first aim. And the second one was to support actors of the electric system in the energy transition. So these are the two main objectives. And behind each objective, we have solutions. So the first objective solution are a predictive maintenance, 3.0 operation with connected IoT objects using Linky Dadas, and advanced operation network. The second objective, which is deals with the electric power system integration in the energy transition, the solution are dealing with network planning tools, operation planning in order to anticipate the constraint on the network, innovative grid connection solutions, especially for producers, and prepare the development of flexibility solution for local authorities. So these are the main solution, and here you can see a network vision of smart grid rollout, where you can see that it concerns all the infrastructure managed by ENEDIS, from the control center to the primary substation, MV networks, MV-LV secondary substation, LV networks towards the LV consumer. So it concerns all the infrastructures that we manage. And the objectives are to improve maintenance, quality of service, grid connection, and ARIAS integration. There is another presentation in, I think it's Shamshar room later in today that will precise all these solutions. This is not possible here in 12 minutes. So, what are the key messages? In conclusion, rollout of smart grid is in progress since 2016. And France is a leader in smart grid deployment in Europe, as you have probably noticed in all our roadmap. These smart grid solutions that I previously mentioned concern all the DSO activities, from operation, maintenance to planning and grid connection activities. 2 pilots of large-scale deployment of this smart grid solution are being held, one in the southeast of France in a project that is called FlexGrid, and one in the northwest of France that is called SMILE. The use of flexibility levers and the identification of non-technical losses thanks to smart meters are experimented for the moment and prepare the next smart grid ENEDIS solution roadmap. Thank you for your attention.